A painting doesn't have feet, so it shouldn't be able to move. But every morning, the one hanging in Oliver's apartment looked different. At first, he blamed his memory, then he blamed his eyes. But when he took photographs to prove he wasn't imagining it, he discovered something that would change his life forever. This is the story of the painting that changed every night. Oliver Hayes was 29 years old and worked as an art restorer in Boston. People trusted him with paintings worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. His hands were steady, his eye for detail was unmatched. But there was one thing people didn't know about Oliver. He had developed a habit that seemed harmless. Little lies. Not cruel lies, just convenient ones. I'm almost there. When he had just left home, I finished restoring your painting. When he hadn't even started, it wasn't my fault. When deep down, he knew it was. Eventually, lying became easier than honesty. One rainy Saturday, Oliver stopped at a neighborhood garage sale. Among dusty furniture and old books, he found a small landscape painting. Nothing special. A lonely dirt path, a wooden fence, a large oak tree, gray clouds, an empty field. It looked unfinished. The old woman selling it smiled strangely. You can have it for $15. Oliver laughed. I'll probably repaint half of it. The old woman quietly replied, I wouldn't. He hung it on the wall of his apartment. The next morning, something felt different. The fence looked slightly broken. He assumed he simply hadn't noticed. He photographed the painting, just in case. The following morning, the clouds looked darker. The tree leaned slightly farther to one side. Impossible. He compared the photograph. It had changed. Then came Monday. A customer called. Is my painting ready? Oliver looked at the unfinished canvas. Yes, he answered automatically. I'll deliver it this afternoon. After hanging up, he glanced toward the landscape. For the first time, someone stood in the field, a tiny figure, almost impossible to notice, watching. The next morning, the figure had taken one step closer. Oliver's heartbeat quickened. He checked the previous photo. The figure hadn't been there. He became obsessed. Every night, he photographed the painting. Every morning, he compared the images. Every lie, the figure moved. Every honest confession, it remained exactly where it was. At first, he dismissed it as coincidence. Then he experimented. One afternoon, he accidentally spilled coffee on an expensive painting. His assistant rushed over. What happened? Oliver almost said, it wasn't me. Instead, he took a deep breath. It was my mistake. The next morning, the figure hadn't moved. The experiment continued. Every dishonest shortcut, another step. Every truthful conversation, complete stillness. The painting wasn't haunted. It was judging him. Or perhaps it was revealing something he refused to see. Weeks passed. The figure reached the wooden fence. Its face remained hidden. Oliver stopped sleeping well. He stopped making excuses, stopped lying to customers, stopped blaming coworkers. For the first time in years, people began trusting him more. Ironically, telling the truth brought him more business than lying ever had. Then one evening, he made one final mistake. A wealthy collector asked if an expensive restoration was original. Oliver knew it wasn't. If he admitted that, he would lose thousands of dollars. He stared at the phone for a long time. Finally, he answered, no, it isn't original, and I can't pretend it is. The client was silent. Then he laughed. Thank you. Everyone else tried to fool me. I'll bring every painting I own to you. The next morning, Oliver approached the landscape. The figure was gone. The field was empty again, exactly as it had looked on the first day. Only one thing had changed. Near the bottom corner, where no signature had ever existed, new words had appeared, not painted, almost scratched into the canvas. The truth was never changing the painting. It was changing you. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. If this story meant something to you, subscribe to Cool Coach and join us for another unforgettable story next time. Until then, stay kind, keep learning, and never stop becoming the person you're meant to be. I'll see you in the next story.